get it right or wrong this time. Pieces of conversation will never make it up. Get your bike fixed if you got the money. You're with us, he's with us, catching feelings for the dark, dark night. You're with us, he's with us, light a cigarette, shorten your laugh cry for the first time in months. Talk to Venus or write a letter to your guy. Get your bike fixed if you got the money on your mind. Talk a lot, please talk too much. You're with us, he's with us, catching feelings for the dark, dark night. You're with us, he's with us, light a cigarette, shorten your laugh cry for the first time in months.
Pigeon podcast.
Son of a Pigeon. Olaf.
Hey man.
Olaf Putker.
Yeah, that's me.
Man,
Olaf.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thank you for hosting me in this
of
beautiful
course.
complex.
Welcome in Amsterdam, in my new home. Yeah.
Well, it's not video yet, but just for the people who are listening, we're sitting in between a few big old houses.
Yeah, I think this used to be like an asylum center for people who would just come, like refugees who would come to the Netherlands. And then it turned into a student complex housing situation thing. It's pretty sick. I just moved here a week and a half ago, so it's all pretty new to me as well. But it's a very cool environment. We're surrounded by chickens at the moment.
Yes.
And all these random chairs and things just laying around on the field here. Yeah.
It's very much feels of a community.
It does feel like that. Yeah. That's why I really want. I'm only here for 2 months now, or at least I got a room for 2 months. But I'm hoping to get another room here because all these people, like mostly, it's pretty cheap as well. So there's a lot of artists and musicians living here. It's only students, and it does feel like a community. It sure does, and everybody all the doors are always open. And
well, basically we just had a rough beginning for the podcast. I did not realize the battery is about to be empty.
Yeah.
And then we could not start recording, so I went around and Olaf went around and we just look for people who can have batteries, and everyone are so friendly here.
I think that's quite a good example of what this place is. Maybe. Yeah.
It's also very important in our lives to have a good community.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a bit envy actually.
Yeah.
Just to be here, man. It feels really warming.
It is,
and hugging and
of course
beautiful.
it starts feeling a bit different when you live here, and it's like your home base. It just becomes your home as well, and but it's nice to have this environment for sure. It's quite refreshing because I grew up in a small town in the east of the Netherlands. I lived there for my whole life except for the 3 months in Berlin. And it's a very nice place. The past year and a half, I started running into more creative people there as well. But yeah, Amsterdam is just like on a whole nother level, and especially this place.
You lived here before in Amsterdam?
No. This is my first time living here. But my brother lives here. I have a lot of family here. I come here quite a lot. But like living here is very new for me. Yeah.
It's really beautiful city.
It is. Yeah.
There is something very elegant about a city.
Yeah.
About
for sure.
about Holland in general, I think this country is very chilled and funky.
Chilled and funky.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Chilled and funky, yeah.
Okay.
Everything is beautiful here. Everything is chilled. You know,
Yeah.
it's a straight land. There are no mountains.
Yeah. It's very well organized as well, which
Yeah,
is something
absolutely.
that that's one of the main differences that I had when I was living in Berlin. Like shit is not organized.
In
there.
what
Like,
way?
And, I don't know. It's just more dirty, of course, and
Yeah.
it's more. It's more of a mess, which I love mess. I love a mess. Like this place is also kind of a mess, right? So it's not a bad thing. But Netherlands is very organized, and I know people who moved to Berlin for a longer time and had to like become a citizen of Germany, and like that whole process, like it takes so much time. And here in the Netherlands, it's way more easy and the
Bureaucracy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Germany is known for the notorious bureaucracy
Yeah.
process
They sure
journey.
are.
But you know what doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Mm.
And this is one of the
Sure.
things with the German bureaucracy. If you know how to handle them, you can probably handle any bureaucracy.
Yeah. You're right.
It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. And you have a band
Yeah.
called the Scenic Sounds.
The Scenic Sound.
Scenic Sound, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I knew I would pronounce it wrong.
No worries.
But then I wonder, okay, so there is a scene and there are sounds.
Yeah.
And then you chose both of them into a band. Was it your decision or was it the whole band?
This was kind of my idea. The Scenic Sound is actually the name of the rehearsal space in my hometown, where we rehearse a lot. And I've been coming there since I was 11. Like when I was in a band with my brother for a bit, we were playing like covers and stuff. I would come there. I know the owner very well. And this band we're talking about consists of Nathan, Len, and Boas. They're all guys from my hometown as well. It started out as a solo project. It was just me, but at some point it just didn't feel right to just only have my name in it. While I do always write songs and I do most of the planning and the organizing. I was listening to this band, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, and then I got this idea of my name and ... something, and then I don't know how it happened, but I just thought the Scenic Sound Studios, that's what it's called, and I thought that's a pretty cool name. So we just chose that as like a kind of an homage to, like an honor to the place where I got to rehearse a lot, and I always got discounts because I was a cute young kid, you know. So it's a memory. That's what it is.
It's very important to pay tribute to those who paved the way before us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It felt very fitting to use that name.
How did they react when you told them about it?
I texted the guy. He was kind of he's quite a sober guy in a sense, so he was like, okay, cool. But at some point I had an interview with a Dutch radio station, and I explained the same story, and I sent him the recording, and then he was like, oh, that's very cool and sweet, and so yeah, he likes it, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you never know, maybe in 5 years it will be this legendary place where musicians go there, you know.
Would be sick.
Olaf was here.
Yeah. maybe. Yeah. It's sick. Yeah. It's just like a rehearsal space. It's like it's special to me mainly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what's important.
Yeah.
And you also released a song which is called "The Dance We Call Our Days."
Yeah.
And we see how we do that with the podcast. Well, we might play music in the middle of it, we might not. So we're gonna improvise.
We'll see. Yeah.
But we already played one song at the beginning. I think it was Venus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Venus. Yeah. So this you already heard, and there is another song that is out there. But let's talk about Venus a little bit.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
It's a really interesting song. I find it very like Radiohead-ish.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of. How it goes, the main line in the song?
The main chord progression or the lyrics? Or
the lyrics, yeah.
Yeah. The chorus, you're with us, he's with us.
Yes.
Catching feelings for the dark, dark night. You're with us, he's with us. Light a cigarette, shorten your life. Cry for the first time in months. Yeah. It's quite a heavy song.
He's with us.
Yeah, he's with us. Yeah.
That's really strong line.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. It's quite a special song to me. It's about a very special person in my life who was going through. He's like one of the closest people in my life, and he was going through some really hard stuff, and it it was always on my mind. I think it happened like when I was 15. I think I wrote the song when I was 15, and 15 or 16 or something, and. It's mainly about wanting to protect someone who doesn't live close to you, but um, wanting to be there for the person, also not knowing how. And the only way I could communicate that feeling was by the line with you. You're with us, and then tell everyone he's with us. He's part of us, and he's safe. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's very strong. I always feel this good feeling of belonging when people say, "Oh, he's with us. Come, he's with us. He's okay. You can let him in."
Yeah. I thought that's exactly the feeling that I want to kind of express with that phrase. Yeah, it's for everyone to know that he's with us, right?
Yeah, man. And it's called Venus. Why did you choose this name for the song? I think you don't take the title so lightheaded when you choose them.
A bit actually. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, it's Venus is actually quite funny. I think when I was writing it, I thought Venus was the name of the. I thought Venus was Mars. Actually, Mars is like male, like masculine, and Venus is feminine. So I thought, for some reason, I thought that Venus was the masculine thing, and it. Because the song is also kind of about having to live up to certain expectations, and I kind of consider these like mythologies as one of those expectations, right? Mm-hmm. It's like an archetype of what you have to be, but it's the name is actually a mistake, but I kind of like that in a way, because then when people read it, they maybe get a bit confused, so you kind of leave by making that mistake, by not naming it Mars but Venus. I knew it kind of right away when I was Googling it, and I was like, oh shit, that's wrong. But I'm just gonna roll with it, because it's the name that came up in my mind for some reason, and maybe some people can like attach different feelings. It leaves some space for other people's interpretations, I think, if you kind of embrace those mistakes, between brackets, of course, mistakes.
This is a theme that I get quite often on the podcast, that mistakes what makes music so human, and it makes the music grow and become unexpectable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think embracing that, like, I think the whole creative process is making mistakes. Is because that's where you do things that are unexpected, right? When you make a mistake, you're doing something that you didn't intend to play. Yeah. But that's where beautiful things come out, and. So I think it's very important, because there's always you have always this idea in your head of what a song is going to be, and it never becomes that. It always becomes something slightly else. But I think the key in the whole process to kind of keep yourself happy as well is to embrace that it becomes something different than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Do you let other band members take the song to a different direction than you intended to?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, how it works most of the time, I've been interested to talk a bit about that. Is that I finish a song on my guitar. It's just me and my guitar. It's and then I make like a phone recording and I send it to the guys via WhatsApp, and then I always do, or we try to always do a guitar rehearsal first, because we play with a guitar player, bass player, a drummer, and I play guitar as well. So it's 2 guitars, and that like combination has to be very like thought out. So we start with a guitar rehearsal, and like I always have an idea in my head of. Sorry about that. I always have an idea in my head like what the vibe is, but I don't like write their parts, so there's always like room for, oh, maybe this outro should be a bit longer, maybe we should repeat this chorus 2 times instead of just playing it once. So yeah, I definitely leave some space for them to kind of fill in their own parts, and maybe something happens. It's definitely collective effort in the end, but the main song is always finished. So like the chorus, the lyrics and everything. Yeah.
And what is important for you in the song? Because the song got a life of its own, definitely.
Yeah.
But however, there is a structure and there is the core essence
Yeah.
of the song that you want to keep there.
Yeah.
And how do you choose what is important for you and what can go away? Is it something that happens spontaneous for you in the process?
Yeah, it's definitely spontaneous, I feel like. It's something that's hard to put into words, of course, because it's a very like subconscious progress, I feel like, with like real life consequences,
Yeah.
which is quite interesting. So when I like have a verse and I don't have a chorus yet, I kind of think I just mess around, and it's all messing around and just trying different chords. And most of the time I have this chord progression, and then I need a chorus, which needs to be almost always a different chord progression, and then I try different chords, just one chord that kind of leads it into the different part, and then the different part kind of writes itself most of the time. So it's always that little first new part of the new segment for which I just mess around, and then it gets a bit more like just working on it
With the whole band?
No, I always do that on my own, like the choruses and everything.
And you bring everything to the band as a whole song?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
And then sometimes like the outro changes or the chorus changes a bit. Some needs to be shorter or longer, but the main song is always finished. Yeah.
Yeah, this is important. Interesting. And do they have like some different production direction than you would think of the song?
Yeah. Most of the time it always changes a bit, but always in a like we always have to, like, everyone has to agree like on what we agree on. So it's always
What if you don't?
what if we don't? Then we remember it and try something else. And maybe we get back to the first idea if we think, okay, nothing else works, we're rolling with this. But doing it for the end is, I don't have like the last say or anything. If someone really doesn't like a certain part, then we try something else. Yeah.
So it's very organic band. It's not they're just playing your music. They're actually writing it with you.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they can have the whole experience with you.
Yeah, their parts are always kind of written together. Yeah. They come up with ideas and they're like, "Oh, man, Olaf, what do you think of this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's not totally the vibe I was going for." And they try, "Oh, maybe I should try it lower on the neck." And then that's, "Oh yeah, that works. Okay, but maybe try to change that." And then just together we go through it. So yeah, it's quite organic, I'd say.
Yeah, especially when you are two guitarists in one band.
Yeah.
This is very tricky. As a guitarist, I prefer to be by myself.
Yeah.
I think it depends as well on the genre of the music. If it's more rock and roll and more distortions, then I prefer to be by myself. For me, I had really difficult experiences finding other guitarists that we can really match each other. Maybe I'm too dominant with my sound.
Yeah. No, but
possible.
I get that. I get that, because if you're also playing guitar and you're always kind of, you fill in the space yourself, and then someone else comes around and needs something as well in that song. They need to find their place, and you always have to give something away to leave some space for the other guitar player. But that I think is quite cool, because it changes stuff.
Some bands do it amazing. Korn, for example.
Yeah.
They have really insane guitar parts.
Fuck yeah, they
Who
do.
else have good two guitarists? Metallica, not really. They play the same Metallica.
Yeah.
Do you listen to Metallica?
Not really. No, it's not really my cup of tea. I can like admire it for what they do and for what they did in their genre, of course. Like, they're quite influential, but it doesn't really attract me at all.
Here's a fun fact about Metallica.
Tell me.
So all the rhythm guitars for the first 5 albums were recorded by James Hetfield, the singer.
Really?
Yeah, and Kirk, the other guitarist, played only the solos.
Oh shit!
Yeah, man.
Okay.
He did not even play rhythm.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, but Metallica is a weird band, and I know that they at some point like had to get a band therapist to kind of keep the band going and that stuff. It's quite a special, weird band.
But they're still going on.
They're
40 years afterwards, and they're still going into stadiums and sold out.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. It's pretty sick.
it's impossible to invent yourself for so long. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They're not so good anymore, but it's impressive.
Yeah.
Who are your influences?
My influences are quite broad, but in terms of my own music and with the band, the stuff I just played and the single that you're gonna play maybe at the end or somewhere in the podcast. Main influence is the band Wilco. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, who
It's
are they?
it's an American band from Chicago with songwriter Jeff Tweedy, and that band is really inspiring to me because they
What is their name?
Wilco.
Wilco.
Yeah.
With a C.
Yeah, Wilco. Exactly. Yeah, they're really cool. And because what they do, and that was really an eye opener for me, because my music, when I write, it's kind of Americana-ish, and maybe like a bit of country and folk in there as well. And that's what Wilco is as well. But when they play it with the band and they do it in the studio, they experiment a lot with weird sounds and like soundscapes and ambient and some electronics in there as well. So they take that Americana basis, that Americana fundament of like classic songwriting, like Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young and Neil Young and like all those folky stuff. But they expand it in such an interesting way with the band. Their current guitar player is an experimental jazz guitar player actually. So like that makes for a very interesting take on something that is very classic, and that's very inspiring for me because I'm a huge fan of like the classic Americana pedal steel, cowboy hats and shit like that. But I don't really like to play that live because I don't get the certain energy. I miss some energy always. And then I listened to Wilco and I was like, oh, so this is what you can do if you have an Americana song but you want more. There's so many possibilities, and that's where Wilco is really an influence. And like besides Wilco, I love Nick Drake as well.
Oh, he's insane.
I love Elliott Smith.
Man.
There's this Belgian band Deus. They're from the 90s. They're very cool as well. And yeah, there's a shit ton more. I also really like Blake Mills recently. I'm quite into punk music as well, and indie rock and all the good stuff. It's quite a broad influence. I'm getting into like Brazilian music as well.
Brazilian music.
Yeah, which is quite an interesting journey.
The bossa nova style.
Yeah, and some samba stuff, and like. Yeah, I've got a lot to discover there. Fortunately, my one of my roommates here grew up with a lot of that music, so she's sending me a lot of stuff, and it's very cool.
Yeah, they have insane music in Brazil.
Yeah, they sure do, and it's so like different. It's so different as well. It's like such a their whole approach is so different, and that makes it very inspiring. It's not like your classic Western 1-4-5 chord progression, right? So there's always something in there. It's like, how are they doing that?
Yes.
And that's what I really love. Like when I'm kind of confused while listening to things.
What do you do when you feel this confusion? I think it's very scary for some people when there is this confusion, when they hear stuff they're not used to.
Yeah. For me, not really. I'm quite open to everything. I don't really like judge on the basis of what I hear. I just try to understand. The main thing what happens when I hear something that's a bit confusing to me, I try to, or what happens in my head is like, okay, it's a bit weird. It's something that I'm not used to, but how are they dealing with this, and how are they bringing this to me? Like, what's their attitude? And if the attitude is right, I can enjoy a lot of things. Even if the melodies are weird and if I don't really understand it, it's still. If the attitude and the emotion is there, I can always feel it.
Yeah, this is something that powers music.
Yeah.
No matter what genre is it. I think if someone can listen to Britney Spears and then to listen to Slayer, and they enjoy both of them, they understand music.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
How's that with you? How's your musical influence?
Everything, man.
Just curious.
Yeah, I started the most basic Education, I would say, when I was 9 or 10, was Backstreet Boys.
Oh, sick.
My dad got this album when they have everybody.
Yeah.
And I was listening to this on my tape. So every time before I go to sleep, I would just press play and I would go over the whole album.
Yeah. Wow.
And the productions there are incredible.
They are.
I did not knew that when I
Yeah.
was listening.
No, of course you're a young kid.
But it just got me, man. Everybody, there is a really heavy riff there.
Yeah.
And it's groovy as fuck.
It's very smartly written. Like it's very. You can hear that there's some really good songwriters involved in the Backstreet Boys stuff.
You know who wrote it?
No, I'm not sure.
There is the
actually.
Swedish dude, Max Martin.
It's always the Swedish guys, huh? It's always,
The Swedish got something with music,
yeah, it's weird. I find it very
with pop music.
yeah with pop music.
Catchy pop
exactly.
music,
Yeah,
to be
catchy-
even more
yeah.
precise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, so he was doing a lot of them with the guy named Dennis Pop. Dennis Pop is behind the Ace of Base. You know, all that she wants.
Yeah.
So there is a crazy story about it that he had a broken radio in his car.
Yeah.
And he could not get the tape out. And he got this demo from Ace of Base, and it was complete shit.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing that you could listen to while he
Oh,
was driving
wow.
the car. So he
Yeah.
would listen to this one song in loops when he was driving. And then, with time, probably he figured out how he can produce this song.
Yeah.
And then he produced it, and he made them one of the biggest bands, came from
Yeah.
Sweden. And then he started to produce some pop artists. And then he got introduced to this guy, Max Martin.
Yeah.
And he became one of the legends, Max
Yeah.
Martin. He wrote for Britney Spears as well.
Yeah.
NSYNC, he wrote for them. Then he started with Katy Perry, I Kissed a Girl.
Oh wow.
Probably more songs. Ariana Grande today. Who else? Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
He also one of those legends who
Yeah.
keep inventing themselves
Mhm.
for decades.
Yeah.
He's from the 90s.
It's crazy,
Just
huh?
yeah,
And they're always up there. They're always in tune with what is happening, and they always have their own. Yeah, it's fucking sick. Yeah.
yeah, and it's so difficult to listen to Max Martin. He's not making so much interviews,
No.
but he got this Swedish award of contributing to society, or
Oh, wow.
something insane like
Yeah,
that.
Of course. Yeah.
And the guy who presented him, he said, there always someone in the world who is humming a song that was written by Max Martin.
yeah. I think that's right, actually. Yeah. Yeah, it's sick.
I think he also got the best job in the music industry. If you take Britney Spears, everyone knows her.
Yeah.
And look at her now. She got really fucked up because of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't have to deal with all the publicity and all the crazy fandom and the tabloids and shit.
And he gets, I think, way more money than Britney
Yeah,
Spears.
he gets a lot of money, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's began my music journey, those kind of music.
Yeah, sick.
This 90s pop. And then I went to the heavier side.
Yeah.
I got introduced to Metallica. And it was when Napster started, the irony.
Yeah.
And then I just downloaded the whole albums of Metallica because I knew them somehow from the radio.
Yeah.
And it was already, the name is there,
Yeah,
Metallica.
Metallica. Wow.
Metallica!
Yeah.
And I remember I downloaded the albums and then I burned them and also printed the cover front and back. I
Nice,
want
yeah.
to feel like I have something.
Exactly. Yeah, nice.
And then I went down the rabbit hole, but now I just feel I really enjoy music no matter what. It's
Okay.
all about the attitude. It's all about the groove.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I hear really everything.
Nice.
And lately I got really into Arabic music.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I got oud. You know this instrument?
Yeah. I
Oud
think-
and kamanche, which is a very ancient violin.
Yeah.
And for me, it's so new. I'm used to
Beautiful
guitar and
stuff.
for frets. And those really teach me how to listen.
Yeah. When I was living in Berlin, at some point there was this street music festival, Fête de la Musique, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
And there was this Arabic band playing somewhere. It was, I think, also with an oud. Is it called?
Maybe, yeah. Was
And-
it the chubby oud?
Yeah.
Oh, I know this
yeah.
guy. What's his name? I forgot his name. I took a video of him last
Oh,
week.
sick! Yeah, might be. Yeah. So, and I was really impressed by that as well. It's just very interesting because you're, at least for me, growing up in the Netherlands, you're just mainly confronted with Western music, Western songwriting, Western chord progressions, Western skills as well, and at some point in your life, if you do things well, you get confronted with stuff that's just totally different. And I really love that journey.
so different just to be able to sing those intervals, those quarter
Yeah,
tones.
yeah,
And it's also very different from where you are.
yeah.
So if you play in Egypt and you're used to music in Egypt, if you will go to Turkey,
It's
they will make fun of you. You're not playing
Yeah.
correctly. It's
Wow.
like you're out of tune.
Yeah.
It's not the same quarter notes.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
really,
wow.
really insane.
Yeah.
Some of them, I don't know where exactly, but they play a little bit lower than a quarter tone, and somewhere they play a bit higher.
Yeah. Yeah. All
And
that stuff.
yeah, you have like a dialect of music.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. The dialect of music. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It's all languages, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Cool.
How did you started with music? What age were you?
I think it was 8 years old, and my brother was already playing music. He was taking bass lessons. He's now a guitar player mainly in a band. He did the conservatory as well, where I'm gonna start now. He already finished. But so he was taking bass lessons, and our parents are not really musicians, but they're very much music fans, especially my dad. And they saw like music education the same way as like swimming lessons. So it's something you just. I wasn't forced or anything. I could still. I had a choice. If I didn't want to do music, it was fine. But they definitely like told us, if you want to do music, you can do it, and we can get you some lessons. And that really kicked everything off. I feel like, because I was already kind of interested. I had this little like guitar. This little children's guitar. We'll play in front of the supermarket sometimes, maybe
Busking.
in busking.
Really?
Or,
Age of
yeah.
8?
Yeah,
Man, nice.
age of 8 or 9 or something. Yeah,
Entrepreneurship.
I had no clue what I was doing. I was just doing anything, but it was fun. And then I took this orientation lessons, which would just be a different instrument every 4 weeks for like, I don't know, 12 weeks or 16 weeks, and then you could choose one of the instruments. So I chose keyboard after that for some reason. I did some keyboard lessons for 2 years, 2 years of piano lessons, and then I discovered Elvis Parsley, and then I was like, okay, I want to start playing guitar now and sing. And then I quit the piano stuff. I still play piano sometimes, but it's not my main thing anymore.
Dean told me you're a sick piano player.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm not a sick piano, but I can play a little bit. Can play some bluesy stuff,
All
mainly bluesy and rock and roll.
I trust Dean.
Yeah, there's some cute videos on the internet of that as well. But yeah, and then I discovered Elvis Presley at around the age of 11, I think, and that was the eye opener for me to kind of start playing guitar and start singing and being like a front man. I thought that was very inspiring.
Yeah,
Because the guy's charisma is
He's
just
insane.
out of this world.
Do you know his comeback video from '68?
Yeah, in the leather outfit on the little boxing ring.
Yes.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah.
This
that's
is a
it.
legendary concert. I think
It
it's
sure
in his
is.
prime right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like his whole career is very interesting. I know his whole history. I was like
Wow.
obsessed with Elvis. So I
Really?
had like Elvis books. I had Elvis outfit. I wanted to become an Elvis tribute artist, right? And so all that. So
that's
like it was
crazy.
quite an intense 2 years or something that I was really into Elvis. And then even my family was like, Olaf, you gotta start listening to some different stuff as well now. It's really getting out of hand. And I'm happy they told me that. But yeah, his whole history is crazy, because that comeback show he had his 50s period where he like just kickstarted rock and roll and like fucking legendary stuff, and then he had to go into the army, and then he came back, and for some reason he was stuck to this movie contract for like 8 years or something. So from like 1960 to 1968 he was only making music and making films and just soundtracks from movies. He was still singing songs. I think like Suspicious Minds is a song from that period, and some other stuff as well. There are some great songs, but it's also a lot of shit. It's not good at all. And then in 1968 he was like, I want to do a concert again, and that's that comeback video you're talking about. So that's because you can really feel that he had some some sort of energy stuck there that really had to get out after 8 years. Imagine that, just making 8 years of music after just inventing rock and roll. That's fucking inventing. They're there's quite a conversation to be had about that as well. But he was one of the pioneers for sure.
It's insane. I remember from this concert definitely what you said, that he was very radiating.
Yeah.
And I also remember when he just looked into the audience and the girls went insane. How much charisma, man.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
now when you tell the story, it makes more sense if he was not on stages for 6 years.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can really feel that energy. The one weird thing is though about those girls, that those girls were hired by his manager to be there and go crazy. But
there we go.
If you look at videos from the 50s, those were not hired, and those people went even more crazy. So, yeah,
Wow,
the guy had some charisma for sure.
Is it true that he was blonde?
I'm not sure actually.
There is a rumor that he's a blonde guy.
That he painted his hair black.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think he might have been there. I think pictures from his youth were that there he was blonde, but sometimes your hair color changes through the years. But yeah, I think he painted his hair probably. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We will never know.
No.
What happened to him in the end?
He took a lot of drugs and ate too much burgers and peanut butter sandwiches, and then he died on the toilet. Yeah, that's quite a sad story. But he had some great years in the 70s, but then his health just deteriorated.
I think he had a lot of stress in his life.
Yeah, of course, man.
Imagine
and his manager was just a douchebag. A Dutch guy, by the way, his manager. His manager was a Dutch guy who was illegal in the US. Just a horrible guy.
Oh, wow.
Colonel Tom Parker, fuck that guy.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he was horrible because Elvis never played a show outside of the United States. And the only reason for that is because his manager didn't have a passport or anything. He was illegal. So if Elvis wanted to play shows outside of the US, his manager couldn't go with him, and his manager was so protective of him that he didn't let him do it. So people outside of the US never got to see him perform live.
Wow.
And the Beatles, like they did tours all over the world, right? So and then Elvis was just stuck in Las Vegas in the 70s, man. And
doing the same Las Vegas concerts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's quite sad. Yeah, it's a good lesson. Like you have to take care of your own stuff and then invite people in to help you out. But Elvis was just such a young kid when I think he was 19 when his first single came out or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was so revolutionary. Like he didn't really have like this route he could walk. He had needed someone to take him places, but yeah, he didn't find the right guy, unfortunately.
How is it possible someone managing Elvis Parsley would be illegal? And no one will notice it.
Yeah, it's weird, huh? Yeah, but
it's very dodgy.
Yeah, very dodgy and weird, and just not a good person. But well,
yeah, I think he got the similar story to Britney Spears.
Yeah,
somehow.
This is a story that repeats itself quite a lot. It's I'm lucky that I'm making kind of not mainstream pop music, so that I don't think I'm really gonna get screwed over like this, because there's not that much money in the industry that I'm probably gonna end up in. So, but yeah, I can imagine for like people who make pop music, it's quite scary sometimes, because they can really promise you a lot of money and a lot of fame, and yeah, then they screw you over.
Yeah. Also the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, same story. Yeah.
The manager of the Backstreet Boys did not pay them anything, and he took all the money that he was using for those like business dinners and all the flights and all the crazy meetings that he used to do. He took everything from the profits of the band.
Yeah.
And imagine this. This is so weird. You are touring all over the world. You are number one in
You're
charts.
You're working very hard as well.
And you see nothing from it.
Yeah. It's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, but today I think it's very different, the way we treat music today. Everything is way more individual. Everything is way more self-done.
Yeah,
DIY,
for sure.
you know?
Yeah. That's one of the rare good things about the internet and like all the technological innovation that we have right now. That you can do everything yourself. Like the single that we released it ourselves, right? And we did free release shows here in the Netherlands, and we organized those shows ourselves as well. Like you can do everything yourself if you want to now. I still would like to get into a label, but like a independent, small, like music loving label and management. That would be the best, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about the dance we call Our Days.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, let's do it.
And then we hear it when we
Yeah.
talk about it.
The final studio version.
Yeah, man. I've heard it. I've heard it like today and yesterday to get myself refreshing a little
Yeah,
bit.
awesome.
And I really, really like the sound of it.
Thanks, man.
I really like the drums. I think that was the first thing that hit me first.
Cool.
It's the slow tuning drums.
Yeah,
And I really like this.
Yeah, I really love the production that it ended up being. That song had quite
So the guitars, it's all dirty, and there is a grit to this, like
Yeah.
you're playing in some pub. I
Yeah.
can feel the smokiness through the
sick.
sound.
Yeah, that's definitely what we were aiming for, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, the song is sick, man. I love the whole process that song went through. I can tell you a bit about how it came to be,
Yeah,
maybe.
please.
I lived in Berlin for 3 months. That's kind of how I know you. We didn't meet them, but then I met Dean. Listen to that episode as well, while you're at it. And then via Dean you got to me. But so I was living there for 3 months in 2022 when I had a gap year. So I finished high school in 2021. Did like a gap year of working in a supermarket, and then the big thing of that year was going to Berlin for 3 months. I'm not sure why. I've been in Berlin like twice, and I really loved it. And like your gap year is the time to do that, right? To go somewhere else for a little while. I just turned 18, and then I moved to Berlin for 3 months, and I had this idea of, man, I would love to have just one song about my time in Berlin, like this one Berlin song. But that's not something you can force. So
Yeah.
it took a long time to write something, and like it was all these new. I had stuff to deal with mentally as well, and it's just weird moving to a city. So I had all this different stuff on my mind, and I just couldn't get to writing. But only at the kind of halfway mark, or maybe 2/3 mark of those 3 months, I had this idea of like a little. I can play that if you want me to. I
Yeah.
had this idea for a little. It was like a little guitar. Oh shit! It's still an open tuning. I was sitting in a park in, I think, Hassenheide Park in Berlin. I think it's in Neukölln or something. It was quite close to my house, and I was smoking a joint and just noodling on my guitar. And then I had this idea for a little, like, it was quite different from what I would normally write. Normally I have like like something like this, right? It's like strumming and shit, but then I had this. And I put a little, so that's the basis of the whole song, actually, like of the verses and stuff. And I put a little video of that up on my Instagram, and then the drummer of a band, who I of course hadn't seen for a long while, he was still in the Netherlands. He texted me and it was like, that little thing you put on Instagram, please finish that and turn it into a song. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And then I started writing, and I had some other chord progressions for the chorus, and then this outro, and it was kind of semi-finished. And then I needed some lyrics, and what I did in the song in terms of lyrics is called The Dance for Our Days, and in the song I go through I needed like some framework to write about my time in Berlin, because it was so much influence and so much impact and stuff happening that I hadn't ever seen before in my life. So it was really hard translating that into song lyrics. So I needed kind of a framework to work with, and then I had this idea at some point to kind of describe those 3 months by going through every day of the week. So if you listen closely to the lyrics, I go through every day of the week, Monday, Tuesday until Sunday, and I have like a little 1 or 2 phrases about said day, and it's a kind of a semi-chronological description of my time there and stuff that I that I encountered. So like, call it Monday, but I won't romanticize something up there, but it sure ain't the sky. Is what I experienced when I first came there, because you have this like romantic idea of, okay, I'm gonna move to Berlin. I'm on my own now, and this is life, right? I just came out of high school. This is what it's all about. And then I was like, oh well, but it's also quite difficult to live on your own. I'd never done that before, and it's quite hard to meet new people in a city where you've never been. So like the whole romantic thing kind of disappeared for some reason and became quite difficult. So that's like one aspect, and there's like all these references to stuff happening, and that kind of compromised all the verses in the song. And then I had the choruses. I got this line, yesterday I got punched right in the face. That really happened. I got punched in the face in Berlin for the first time.
What was the cause to get punched?
There was no cause. It was fucking weird. I was just walking home after, like, one of the first nights I had, like, this like very nice social event. Like I was quite alone for some time, and then it was like a Sunday night. There was this event that people I met on the street organized, and I brought someone that I met on the street, and we went there. It was like live music. It was such a wonderful evening. I was going home very happy, like, okay, so this is the start of a nice Berlin experience, right? And I was walking home from the station Südkreuz to my home where I was living, and I had to walk underneath this like this bridge thingy, and I was just minding my own business, earbuds in, smoking a cigarette, listening to Jacques Brel, and then then at the other side of the street there were like these three guys who were kind of like fucked up, and I just noticed they were on like cocaine or some shit like that. Like they were really aggressive and sounding, they were screaming, and they were just out for trouble. That's what they were. And then they were walking on the other side of the street, but they came to my side of the street. And before I knew it, someone just punched me right in the face with his fist. And I just went down, and they just kept walking. And at first I was like, oh, maybe he stole something off me. So I checked my pockets. Nothing. Everything was there.
You were knocked out.
I was not knocked out. I was I was still awake and shit.
All right.
But very confused mainly, because like, why? Because you
Yes.
didn't steal anything from me. I wasn't doing anything. Why would you do that? But it was just
Wow.
so that had quite an impact on me. So I was like, yeah, I can put this in a metaphor, because I can also just say yesterday I got punched right in the face, because that's what happened. And so it's all these kind of anecdotes of my time there and observations mainly, because I was alone a lot. So it's mainly observations and some experiences, and I just put them in the song, and it's like it just really describes my time there for me. And what's funny, because normally what we were talking about is that I finish song, I make like a little phone recording of me and my guitar, send it to the band, and we figure it out. But here I didn't have a band, and what I did have was I was doing a studio recording course at Catalyst, which is also in Berlin. It was
Great place.
what a great place.
Yes. Shout out to Catalyst.
Yeah, for sure. And so that was like at the end of my 3 months. I had 4 weeks of like school and classes and shit. It was very awesome. And also I had access to this to the studios and all this equipment. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like a full demo on my own now. So I like took some drum samples, like kind of chopped them up. And I played everything myself, like the bass guitar, the electric guitar, everything. So and also backing vocals, a lot of backing vocals on the original demo as well, way more than on the record actually, like 15 layers of backing vocals in the end
In different harmonies?
Yeah.
Wow.
So but at the end in the studio we decided not to put them in together with the producer, but yeah, so I recorded an entire demo. So Dance Record Days in that aspect is quite different from how we normally work. Like I had this full-blown demo which was finished, and not a lot changed when we did it with the band in the end. Like the most of the parts kind of stayed. Like it got a bit more dynamic, of course, because you're playing with a live band, so it became more loud, some more dynamic differences in the live performance and band version. But yeah, that was an interesting process. I just came home with a fully finished song with every part written, and then we did that, changed like a few small things, but it was mainly everything I had already recorded. And then we played it live for quite a while, and then at some point um, won this music competition in the Netherlands where we got some money that we could just spend on anything that would help the band grow further, which was great. And we decided to record 2 singles with that money. One of them is the Dance Record Days, our debut single, and another one is coming somewhere near the end of this year. Then we did the Dance Record Days and recorded it again, but with a different producer. And in like a real studio, so it just sounds way better. Like everything is very well recorded, and it's just very cool. I really love the end result. It's yeah. So that's kind of how the Dance Record Days came to be.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
That was the dance we call our days.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a great song.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
I wonder what the listeners are thinking about it. So if people are still listening right now, please comment. What do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
think
please
about
do.
it?
Yeah.
Whatever platform you're listening to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just comment somewhere. We would really love to know your opinion. We would
Yeah.
love to know that you're listening
Yeah.
until now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, please.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So you have another song that is coming out.
Yeah. I didn't play it. It's called A Bit of Elegance. Shit, was I supposed to say that? Oh, I said it already. But yeah, that's already finished and mastered, mixed and everything. And it was from the same studio weekend that we did for the Dance Score Days. And that's gonna be dropping somewhere at the end of this year.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that as well.
Yeah, me too. I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
And what are the rest of the plans afterwards?
We're gonna work towards an EP, a debut EP. We want to play some more shows and also some other stuff we're working on. Like, we're gonna try to get a bit more of a conceptual approach to our band at some point.
Like Elvis.
Yeah, no, well,
the concept, not the costumes.
No, yeah, it's more like we work a lot with creative people who are just friends of mine, like Sabartis. You were talking about the pictures on Instagram. That's that friend of mine, and like other like the artwork for the Dance Score Days was made by Jochem Witteveen, also a good friend of mine and a great visual artist, a drawer, and that's something that we want to bring to the people. We want it to become more of community, like a communal activity, our band. But that's all very much in the works, and I think like the EP, once we made it, we still have to do that. The EP is going to be kind of the launch of that whole concept, and it's still very much just random ideas. But the thing is, it's very exciting for me because it kind of gives the band something special, like something different than other bands maybe. And it just feels really good incorporating all those creative people and kind of giving them a more of an outlet as well. And because it's not only it's like what we are is what our surroundings are, and we want to incorporate the surroundings and invite people into that as well.
Yeah,
and that whole concept, once it takes more like a form, because it's all very vague and kind of somewhere up there, it's kind of weird still. But once it gets more concrete and more like a solid like things, then I think it gives the band, like the whole project gives it some more, I'm trying to think of the English word here, like a longevity maybe, like it
legacy.
Maybe, exactly, like it becomes worthy of existing for a long time, maybe.
You know the Grateful Dead?
Yeah.
They have something very similar to the idea you're describing.
Yeah. That's funny actually, because I was getting more and more videos on Instagram of like the Grateful Dead community on my reels, and I thought that exactly made me think of the thing I was working on as well. That's such a big, like, intense community of people.
I must say the band is not so exciting for me.
No, I've never really listened to the Grateful Dead that much,
but their community,
it's insane, right? Yeah, and I think that's beautiful. And that's the Grateful Dead is of course legendary, and they've been around for like half a century or even more.
Yeah.
But that whole idea of the band just not being a band you're watching, but you're part of that. That project is something I admire a lot, and I also kind of want to get into. Yeah.
Yes, it reminds me of another story that I've heard from Kirk Hammett, the guitarist from Metallica. He did an interview with Rick Beato. You know Rick Beato?
Yeah, I know it.
He's also a legendary person.
Yeah.
And he got this guitar of Peter Green, this Gibson Les Paul. Do you know this one?
Oh, yeah.
This 59 crazy guitar, and they started telling stories about it. And he bought it for like $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah, crazy.
Man, this is insane amount of money to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then he said that the guitar just wanted to be played. That's how it found itself into his hands.
Yeah.
He was not searching for it actively. Somehow one of his friends or his guitar tech told him, there is this guitar, you must check it out. And he was, not really, maybe I will check it out.
Yeah.
And the guitar just wants to be played. That's what he says. And every time someone from the audience says, oh, this is a crazy guitar, can I play it? He says, sure. Go ahead, play
Oh,
it.
awesome.
And there are people who are following the guitar. So
Yeah.
there are people who are fan of Peter Green. Wow, I forgot his name. It's so embarrassing. The other guitarist, Gary Moore.
Oh, yeah.
So he was the owner after Peter Green.
Oh,
he bought it for like
sick.
$200. This Les Paul,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
And Gary Moore is one of the biggest legends. And there are
Yeah.
people who are following Gary Moore because he had the guitar. And now people
Yeah.
who are not even listening to Metallica, they just follow this guitar
Yeah.
to see it being played live on stage.
Yeah, it's crazy how like these objects get their like get this story around it, and like
It's
they're
insane, man.
just like a bunch of wood with strings on it becomes like its own thing, and it has its own fandom. That's pretty nuts, man.
Yeah, it's some, I don't know, personality,
Yeah.
entity.
Yeah, exactly. Entity. That's the right word.
What do you think is important to have when you want to build a community?
Be open, invite everyone in, like, and be very true to yourself. That's the thing, because when I first started thinking about this, this whole idea, I really had to think more deeply about, okay, but what really matters to me at this moment? Because you can't invite people into something that you don't believe in as well. So you have to be extremely honest with yourself. Okay, what is important for me, and what do I want to give to other people? I want to show them, and then I thought about it for. I was like, it's these people around me. It's these creative people that are just friends of mine that have their own view on things. Like they don't have the same creative process as me, but they're creative people. They make stuff, and that's really important to me. So I think the key with this whole project, which is still very much it's nothing. It's just a Google document at this point, right? So it's nothing. But what I keep in mind throughout the process, and when I think about it and get some more ideas, it's mainly being true to what you really feel, and also the main thing is I don't know it. I'm also still evolving. Like the thing is with these conceptual things, it's when I found really hard in the beginning, is that I thought, oh, I need the answer to everything now. I need to present people with like a fully package of what we are, what I intend to make, and what I do. But that's not who I am. Like in my songs, I never answer questions. I posit questions, and or never, most of the time. And then, so it's this kind of allowing this uncertainty and allowing people to think with me about some things that are uncertain, because we're all just humans, just apes trying to figure out how life works.
Yeah.
Right? We don't
I
know
love
shit.
This, man. We're basically apes.
Yeah, and we don't know
Yeah.
shit, and the world is confusing, and everything is confusing, and
Yeah.
you're never finished. You are always a project that never finishes, and I think that's once you embrace that, beautiful things happen.
Yeah, man.
So it's all about. So that process was quite interesting. I was like, okay, we're gonna do something conceptual. I need to provide something that's finished. And I was like, I can't figure it out. Wait, but that's actually, I like the strength of this whole thing. Like inviting people to just celebrate uncertainty and celebrate things that you don't really understand and you're still figuring out. And because once you create that environment, I think then that's when like beautiful events may happen, or beautiful artworks or whatever. So yeah.
It's so important to have community.
Yeah.
You know, if we are as humans, when we lose the sense of community, it feels worse than
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah.
Because for us, it means that we're sure gonna die. If we don't have people to protect us back in the days.
Yeah.
Today it's a bit different.
Yeah.
We are more lonely today. And I think because our DNA, our genetic, it's not meant to be like that.
No. We're still stuck with that ape, like
Yeah.
hunters gatherers mindset.
Yeah.
Right? We're still that.
Yeah, we upgraded the software really, really fast, but the hardware is still
Exactly, yeah,
back like 10,000 years ago.
Yeah. And once you start thinking about that, and shit just starts making sense.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting, I think.
And the very interesting thing about how we think, you know, because whatever you're thinking right now, and even when you tell me the exact words, I see it completely different. than you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, it's funny.
And that's also a type of uncertainty, right? The uncertainty of what we say is not the same for the people who receives that.
Yeah.
And that's also something. It's just, embracing difficulty as well.
Yeah, difficulty. Yeah, suffering. It's something that is very vital.
Yeah.
And some people are so scared of suffering.
Yeah.
But it's part of life, and we all gonna suffer.
Yeah.
And I think generally we suffer more than we have fun.
Yeah.
This
for
is my
sure.
experience, at least, and
Same, yeah.
some people that I know.
Yeah.
But to learn to enjoy this suffering and all these bad experiences that are coming,
Yeah.
I see them as a big leverages, like a trampoline. The lower I
Yeah.
go in my life, of course I can take myself lower as well mentally. But if life takes me sometimes really low and they give me those experiences, I see
Yeah.
them as a trampoline that it just
Yeah.
pulled me down and I have better
But
energy.
do you have that in the moment when it's really bad as well, or is it something that you um, think of in hindsight? You're like, oh, that was really worth it because I got where I am now. Or
That's
is
how it started. But then with time, I in the last 3 years, I just had like bad experience after a bad experience after a bad experience after a bad experience, and all those experiences they take part of my energy, of my
Yeah.
attention, and the stuff that I don't want to do. You know, it's not that I'm going to run, I don't know, for 3 hours and I put myself there.
No.
It just happens.
Yeah.
And the more it happened, then the more I realized I need to surrender.
Yeah.
And whatever it feels like, it's just a sensation. But I interpret that as something that will make me weak or will make me strong.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter what I think, I'm right both cases. So it's better for me to think that I'm going to win with that. And it's
Yeah.
going to make me stronger. And we all face it.
Yeah.
Everyone faces it. Even the most successful person that
Yeah,
we
man.
can meet. Everyone is fucked up. Some people can hide it better than others. But that's it, you know. Yeah, pain is a bliss.
Yeah.
Pain is a bliss.
That's it.
I forgot what led us to talk about it.
I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I think, yeah, we're getting to some kind of core here of things I've been thinking about as well a lot. Like
Yeah.
this kind of.
How do you handle this when you have some difficulty in life? If you want to give an example as well that you overcame it.
It's quite personal, of course, so I have to think about it for a bit.
I can share a story that happened recently.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
I did a video with a very talented singer, Pina Berlin.
Mhm.
So the idea was to do a live recording of her playing one of her songs,
Mm.
and we decided to do it in Tiergarten in Berlin.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is.
And especially in summer, everything is green and the trees are just...
Berlin is way more beautiful in summer.
Yeah. I think every place in Europe is more beautiful in summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe except Iceland. No, also Iceland. So yeah, you know, Tiergarten, nice. Let's go there, make a video. But the moment we stepped on the grass and we went off the path, then evil mosquitoes came to us. And they were not normal mosquitoes. They were evil mosquitoes, the
Whoa.
ones that you meet in the Amazonian or the rainforest.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I thought that maybe the grass tickling me, but no, it was mosquito biting me. You can still see the marks on my leg.
No. Oh,
Like
yeah, you're
all
right.
this,
That's
man.
quite a lot.
That was a month ago, even more than a month
Yeah,
ago.
the people can't see this, but it's quite a lot of red spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man.
I'm not sensitive to mosquitoes usually, so
No.
they bite me and nothing happens.
Yeah.
But this time they really bit me,
Mm.
and it felt like after a surgery.
Yeah.
It felt like I was. Do you have tattoos in your body?
I don't have my.
It feels like after a tattoo. and
Oh,
someone
really?
needling you.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was intense.
Did you go to the doctor afterwards? Or did you?
No, but it's important to go to the doctor, especially when you get like 30 or 40 bites from mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I killed at least 100, I think.
Whoa.
And afterwards, I had a concert. A day afterwards, I was performing in a festival with a cool band called Transfer Music.
Yeah.
It's a kind of like mantras, hippie kind of music about empowerment.
Yeah.
Really, really cool stuff.
Okay. Awesome.
And they gathered really cool musicians. And then we were there in this festival the whole day. It's a 4-day festival, very hippie vibe-ish.
Yeah.
People naked, you know, like
Yeah.
Woodstock, very
all that
open.
stuff. Yeah.
And after the concert, we came back, like maybe 2 a.m. I came back home, and my ankle was so swollen from those mosquito bites, and I
Yeah.
could not walk. I had to
Yeah.
use crutches. That was really insane, and I thought to myself, that's it. Maybe the mosquitoes bit me, and now my leg got infected. Maybe I have fucking malaria, and they will need to chop my leg off, and I started to freak out.
Yeah.
And then I realized, all right, I'm freaking out. maybe the mosquitoes are my friends. What if they were my friends? So why would they do that if they are my friends? Because sometimes we receive those experiences, we think they're bad,
Yeah.
but actually make us stronger.
Yeah.
So maybe the mosquitoes, they want to give me a little bit of bacteria so my body will be strong because of some disease that will come in the future that might fuck me completely.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it, my body relaxed, and I felt strong.
So kind of the thought of it doesn't have to be a bad situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not my enemy. They're
No.
not there to cause me harm.
No.
How can they? You know, even in my own head, I say I'm a legend. This is
Yeah.
something that I talk to myself. I say I'm a legend. Why would a legend would have enemies as a mosquito? You know, the
Yeah.
mosquitoes are my ally. That's what
Okay.
legends are doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I just I felt relaxed. I felt strong.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. That's quite a powerful mindset. I don't think I could do that. I think I would maybe not freak out, but I would in that situation I would probably go to the doctor and try to get it fixed. But it's cool.
It was also a Sunday, so the day afterwards I just relaxed and then it slowly disappeared.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, it's all about like I think there's a distinction to be made about things that happen to you and how you think about those, like your reactions to those things. And I try to let like common daily problems like I dropped my glass of coffee and there's fucking glass over everywhere, like stuff like that. That's not the end of the world, but it can really frustrate you, of course, when you have like one of those days where everything goes wrong. And that's the moments where I realize that my reaction to what happens now is my reality. And my reality is not what happened just now. My reality is what my mental reaction to said event is. And that's that it doesn't fix your problems, but it fixes your mindset while you encounter these problems. And that's, I think, for me at least, how I deal with that sort of stuff. It's also like just like negative thoughts. They're not you, right? It's your reaction to those negative thoughts that fucks you up. Like those negative thoughts can just be, and it's something my mother also told me. Like try to. Okay, negative thought. It just flies by. There it is. We observe that negative thought for a little while. There it is. Okay, and then in an hour you start doing something else, and then you forget about it again. And that's like it's not something that's easy or you can always do. Sometimes it really has its grip on you, and that shit just happens. But I think it's a good thing to keep in mind that you are not your negative thoughts, and you are not that. You are the reaction to those negative thoughts, right?
Yes, but also I think once you let go of what is good and what is bad, what is positive and what is negative, then I think for me it was a game changer.
Okay,
Because let's say I have a negative thought, or a thought that I see as a negative. But if it's not negative, it can also be a positive thought. But I feel stress towards this thought. I mean, more to say, it's the stress that I feel when I have this thought, but it's not negative.
Exactly. It's more like a thought appears and your reaction to that is negative. I think that's the main thing. And I mean, it's different, of course, with like severe, or at least for me, it was different with like, I don't really want to get into too much detail, but I had some like mental stuff, not depression, but something like it, and that's a whole different situation, because then you just need to talk to people about it and like try to like nuance it and get through it like that, because then you're just but for like your daily thoughts and daily stuff, I think that attitude, what you're talking about, is very, very good, and also on the long term, of course. But
and I must say that I was not born with this mindset.
No, that's something you have to grow.
And
I don't think anybody is born with that mindset. It's something that shit, that almost ended this podcast. That's something that you have to learn, man. But that's apes figuring out life.
And I want to go back to this negative thought. I don't know what it can be, but let's say a negative thought. Let's say when you drop the glass of the coffee and it breaks down and spills, and then you have those negative thoughts coming, like, oh, fuck this, I don't know how to hold the glass, I don't know this, I don't know that. But what if you see this event and this stress as a friend of yours? that he wants to tell you something that you might need to be more present.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
And then this negative thought, all of a sudden it becomes positive. It's something that empowers
Yeah,
you. It's
yeah.
really easy to say it, but once it happens, everything in theory is nice and beautiful, but life is
Exactly.
so chaotic.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when the
you're
moment
right.
happens, man, we have conditions that
Yeah.
we hold for years, that our family holds, that our grandparents hold,
Yeah,
and we just act on it without even knowing.
yeah. It's like an immediate like reaction that you're just
Like an
taught.
instinct.
Yeah, an instinct.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, I mean exactly. Like the theory is nice, but putting it into practice is always a different thing.
So
But it's
difficult.
definitely worth working on that. It's definitely
Yeah.
worth it, and it may not end up because what I always have with these kinds of things of like that what you're talking about, for example, it sounds like it's gonna fix everything, but it never does. It never fixes everything.
Never.
But so what I lately this thought appeared in my mind that like life is like you have to consider yourself a project, but that project is never gonna be exactly like you want it to be, and then it kind of finishes and you always learn something from it, but not everything that you imagined that
Yeah.
it would fix. It doesn't fix everything always, and then you go into the next project and that project kind of semi fails, but you take something away from it, and I think that's how it just keeps going till you die. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
and that's
It's very true.
and that takes away a lot of the frustration when certain things are not right with you, or you have a bad month or something. You're like, okay, this is just part of this little project in my mind, and that I have to just work on, and then I take something away from it, and then I still have, then I live again, or I still live, and I'm like doing my things, and I counter something else. And I'm like, oh shit, and this. When I get up in the morning, I feel like shit. When I take a shower, I feel right. But when I get up, I feel like shit. What do you need to do now? And you take care of that, and then it fixes something, and then so it's always this kind of endless cycle of failed projects, but
Yeah.
also successful in a way, and that's a very comforting feeling for me. It was first kind of scary. Fuck, I have to take care of myself forever, but it's like I guess you have this image in your head. Like I'm 19 now, so I'm like, I don't know how old are you?
I'm 33.
Yeah, 33. Yeah, you're in a different life environment now.
Kind of, yeah.
But I think that this is for everyone. Is that yeah, it just keeps going, and it can be quite frustrating, or at least for me, I was like, shit. I thought working on this and this would fix everything, and then now I have other things that frustrate me. Like what do I do now? And then, but it's also quite beautiful, right? You're just always figuring out. You're always. That's the thing. That's why I try to embrace uncertainty, because I never have the real like answer, but
Yeah.
it's project after project, and that's quite a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's never ending. There is no finish line.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people romanticize about this, sitting in the sunset
yeah,
and to arrive somewhere.
yeah, but that's also what because I was going for all this stuff, and then I was like, I got also on my Instagram, coincidentally, I got all these videos of people having a spiritual awakening, right? That whole concept.
The
of
algorithm knows, man.
the algorithm
They
knows.
knows. They're
It's,
so clever
Well,
today.
we can have a whole conversation about that as well, but let's keep that for now. But I had all these things about spiritual awakenings and shit, and then I started thinking to myself, well, I might be like a spiritual. Well,
There's
let's
a
wait.
fucking helicopter.
Shit, trauma helicopter. Shit. Okay. But I was thinking maybe I'm a spiritual person in the sense that I believe in like an essence that we all share and all that stuff. But then I saw this spiritual awakening, and it kind of it pretends that people have found the answer, that they found like they finished the project, and now they're awakened, and now everything is well. And that's something that made me like, okay, I'm not really part of that. But it's also like the Instagram version is different than people, of course. Like it's always a kind of a romanticized version, but this idea of like there is a finish line is what keeps me away from like religion and also some spiritual communities, stuff like that. How do you feel about? Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had a very
And what?
interesting.
And how would you explain the being a spiritual person? Maybe everyone is. I think everyone is in a way. But what does it do for you?
So I believe we have two bodies. We have
Okay.
the physical body, then we have the mental / spiritual body, and they coexist, but in different realities.
Yeah.
But there is a small connection. I imagine it like an hourglass. So, but it's always flowing between up and down, so there is no gravity.
Yeah.
But there is this very narrow line where everything somehow been funneled into,
Okay.
and I think this is our consciousness.
Yeah.
So we feel our body sensations, but also our spirit wants and needs.
Yeah.
And the idea is to take care of both of them, to keep this kind of balance.
It's about taking care.
Yeah, exactly. It's so many things in once, and it's not about any idea. It's just about what feels good for you
Yeah.
and how to do it for yourself, while you also, if you can, help other people.
Yeah.
I had a very interesting talk yesterday. I was in Dam Square, and they have those crazy like protests, all this. It was this anonymous, what they called, anonymous organization. You know them?
Yeah, I think I know what
For
you
the
mean.
animal rights.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really cool, man. I have a really nice camera, so
Yeah.
to take photos of those people. They were standing there, 4 people, back to back, with 4 corners, and they had this vendetta mask on their faces, and they held laptops. They were standing there like that without moving.
Yeah.
And I thought this is a really great way to present whatever you're standing for.
Yeah.
But I did not know Anonymous. I had no
No.
idea what they're standing
No.
for. And then this one guy started to talk with us, and he says, "Are you familiar with Anonymous?" And I said, "No, tell me about it." And he started to tell about the industry of the meat and all the animal stuff that we really abuse animals.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely agree with him.
Yeah.
And then he started to preach about veganism. And I have no problem with veganism. I think everyone needs to eat what is important for them and what is good for their bodies.
Yeah.
But the conversation finished when he realized that I eat meat.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I do not support commercial farms.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And it's a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's a huge, huge difference. And I think this is what the spirit tells me.
Yeah.
I have meat that came from suffering, and I have meat that came from harmonious place.
Yeah.
And I know how to make the difference between that.
Yeah.
And because I make this choice to take my money and to channel it into a local farmer
Yeah.
instead of to channel it into an industry like that, I think this is a way the spirituality can come through in life. One of the ways.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's more of an approach thing. Like it informs your approach to certain things, and it informs your handling of certain things.
Kind of. Imagine if you keep on doing that for 5 years.
Yeah.
If you keep on feeding this local farmer for 5 years, you keep giving him your money, and you don't give your money to the commercial farming.
Yeah.
So if everyone will do that, what will happen is the local community will start to flourish.
Yeah.
And what will happen, everyone, not just the people who receive the money, but all the people who consume this food, it's way more harmonious.
Yeah.
And I don't talk about meat especially, I talk about also veggies
Yeah.
and stuff that comes from the ground.
Yeah.
I think this is it's a very hypocrite thing to say that meat is bad and you're eating tofu that came from Brazil with chips.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So are you making any difference in the world, or you're just preaching because it's comfortable for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what is spirit, Spirit
Okay.
is to know that we are all apples from the same tree.
Okay. Yeah.
And we are connected somehow.
Yeah. But that's something I also definitely believe or feel. Maybe feel is bad. That's something I feel as well. I think believe is a weird word, but yeah. But how do you look at then those? Because I know it's like an internet version of like what most spiritual people. It's a weird term, spiritual people, because if you think about it, everyone is then, but whatever people who are more conscious about spirituality and more involved in that, how do you then look at those kind of extreme like spiritual awakenings and all that stuff.
It depends if they have money.
Yeah.
I think this is the thing. If they don't have money,
They
I
don't-
don't believe they're spiritual.
Okay.
Because money is spiritual.
Yeah.
Money is very spiritual.
Okay.
If you don't earn money, it's because you have difficulties with receiving.
Okay.
I think this is one of the main things, or you don't give enough. Which is very spiritual skills to have, to learn how to receive and to learn how to give.
Okay, but this almost sounds like you're saying people who are poor and live in horrible situations are doing something wrong.
No, they're not doing something wrong. But if someone doesn't have enough money, so they can sustain their life, and
Yeah.
they always try to, they get money from government,
Yeah.
and they get supported from other places,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to generate themselves this energy to sustain themselves. I think they're not spiritual people. I think they maybe enjoy the entertainment of being spiritual. Maybe they enjoy saying those words of high consciousness, high power.
Yeah.
I see you, I feel you, those
Yeah.
stuff. Maybe they enjoy wearing the costumes. Maybe they enjoy this community that no one is really judging them,
Yeah.
especially, when you have those open spaces.
Okay.
Some of them very authentic, some of them not.
It's always up to the different individuals. I
Yeah.
don't think we can really speak about this big.
But the most spiritual people that I met in my life, they were not look like spiritual people. They look
Yeah.
like just normal people.
Yeah, exactly. I
They
understand
might
what you
wear
mean.
clothes that are not, the most hippie or the most
Yeah,
high
okay.
class.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is something about the way they see the world
okay.
that they just let stuff be,
Yeah.
and they know what is harmonious for the whole surrounding
Yeah.
and what is not.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a very deep
Yeah.
definition of spiritual.
It's a deep thing to talk about.
What do you
of
think
course.
about spirituality? How it catches you?
It didn't really catch me for a long time. I'm 19. I'm just practically just out of high school, right? So I feel like I have a lot of things figured out to really say something big about it. But in a sense, it's something that I arrived. It's something where I arrived without knowing I was going to go there. So I was just working on myself. I had stuff to deal with in my mind and all these negative sort of energies and just not feeling well. And then I started to work on myself. Like, how am I going to do this? Talk to people, talk to maybe a psychologist and all that stuff. I've never talked to a psychologist though, but maybe I would at some point. Whatever. But what for me, spirituality is where I arrived after consciously living and consciously working on myself for the first time since I was born, actually. So it's this kind of, it is in a way, excuse me, the word awakening, in a way that it's, I think everyone who has had to deal with severe, like some mental stuff or things like that, then to fix that you have to become, there's like a switch in your brain, like there's some sort of conscious living, instead of going automatic pilot, following things. And of course you have your passions and your emotions, and you're not like a totally dull guy who's stuck in the matrix or whatever. But like it's about this sort of kind of more conscious way of taking care of yourself. And then I kind of stumbled upon this whole idea of like a shared essence, or like a shared thing that every living organism has. Whether it's the plants or the people or the it's just, that's, it also goes back in time, right? The hunters and gatherers times. Like we all come from the same environment, and so I wasn't planning on thinking about that kind of stuff. It wasn't. I've never read any book on spirituality or anything, but it's something that just I got to at some point, and it's really interesting and a very nice thing. But I think I've got like a lot to explore and think about. But it's what kind of got me to the reason that we're talking about it now is because I kind of got to that point where I was just working on myself, working on being more conscious human being, working on my routines, working on how I reflect upon my surroundings, how I take care of my surroundings. And then you automatically, I feel like you arrive at this point where you get this conscious idea, or this that you become conscious of the fact that we're all one and the same, or we're we share an essence, or like a core or something. There's something there that makes us.
We came from the same seed.
Yeah, that we're all apples from the same tree, and that's
exactly.
And that's I didn't expect to have those thoughts at some point, but they're there, and I think that's very powerful and beautiful, and it gives me some like mental rest as well. That's what it is mainly. It's mainly like kind of a feeling that there's more than just my daily thoughts. There's more than just my daily language as well. Language is like not sufficient in many ways. So, but the fact that I feel that there's something more than just me and the daily struggles and the daily things and the daily joys and the daily everything, that's something that's very nice to have. And that feeling, it gives you some. You can just take things in a more rested way, maybe.
I think also the city is the kind of blur spirituality. The less nature surrounds the person, the less spiritual he can be.
I think, yeah. I think there's still something to be said about yeah.
The city is very loud, and
Yeah.
there are many frequencies that are not harmonious for us
Mm.
as humans. That's why there is so much stress in the city.
Yeah.
And this is why cities, they usually attract those who don't have so much. You know, the city looks like, I don't know, like a pot of honey. Because there is so much energy there, there is so much money there, and so much traffic of people.
Yeah.
And
Which is also very exciting.
yeah. And
I
then
love now that I live in Amsterdam now, and that every night of the week I can go to a concert. And in my hometown, every night of the week I'd have to just think of something.
yeah.
Right? So it also has something beautiful. That whole stressful situation can also create something that's quite nice. As for Berlin as well, like it's
Berlin is very different.
Yeah.
Especially when you see so many people that came to Berlin. Most of them are from Syria, from the Middle East, and from Ukraine.
Yeah.
And they're being received as refugees, but they don't really do anything. You know, they might be traumatized from the war.
Mm-hmm.
They might have difficulty to just be part of the society. And then you see them just thrown in the streets, look like shit, you know, doing some weird drugs because those drugs are in the street.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this is like the anti-spirit, where you go into suffering, and instead of taking care of other people, you bring them down. It's like, I believe that everything that we do got a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Like this podcast, you know, people gonna listen to this podcast. Might be someone who's right now having depression and they cannot really find themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe what we say will help them.
Yeah.
And you never know who this person might be. You might meet them in 10 years
Yeah.
and they will become very successful, and they will tell you, Olaf, you're amazing. We heard this podcast and you inspired me so much that I did something with my life.
Yeah.
But then you can also, you know, you can steal someone's bikes and make their day really bad. You know, these are all...
I think there's a little difference in our thinking about those kind of issues.
But we have the choice, you know,
Yeah.
if we steal or not. If we make someone feel good, if we make food for someone.
Yeah, but I think something that I think that what you have to think about is that when we're both in a position where we are very lucky beings. Like we
Definitely.
can sit here with expensive microphones and shit and just take like 3 or 4 hours to record a podcast. But if you don't have any money, and then like the last thing you think about is being a spiritual person, and I totally understand that, because that's your main thing. You're just trying to survive, man, and I think it's very rare for people when you're trying. That it's the same thing with like people that are poor are more obese most of the time.
Yeah.
But that's because when you're struggling to pay the bills, the last thing you think about is, oh, I really need to eat a broccoli now. No, you take the cheapest thing out of the supermarket, and the cheapest thing out of the supermarket is an oven pizza, right? So it's like
And this is why
there's no room in their minds to start thinking about it. You're just going from
Yeah.
day to day, and then eventually you may fall into drugs, and that's horrible. And
This is the circle.
I think
Yeah.
we should not forget that they're not to blame, right?
Absolutely not,
Okay.
man. They're definitely not to blame.
I'm glad we agree on that. I
Yeah.
was already thinking.
I've been there myself. I've
Yeah.
been in those situations. If you would talk to me, I don't know, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
you will not have the same person in front of you.
Yeah.
I was depressed. I was stuck in my own head. And I was always thinking someone wants to harm me.
Yeah.
So you would feel this energy from me.
Yeah.
I
That's
was
what-
not so
yeah.
open, I was there. I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like when no one wants to be around me because I'm not fun to be around.
Yeah.
But I know also what it's like when I'm giving to people and all of a sudden they want to be around me.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
what it's like when I help to lift people up
Mm.
and I feel the gratitude towards
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I think this is a choice we all can make. We don't need money for it.
Yeah.
And this is the choice if you want to make something good or bad. If you're in the street and you have no choice and you need to survive, you can sell drugs, definitely. But you can also do something that you might need to make more effort. But then you can make someone's life better,
Yeah.
even if it's for the
I
slightest.
think it's good advice. I think it's something that people need to focus on in the sense that homeless people that we're kind of talking about now, for example, can give good energy to other people and you get that back. But where you're like in a society where you're frowned upon just because you look like a hobo or like a homeless person, then it can be quite hard to give a certain energy, because if you go even like the happiest, because there's always people like, oh, that was a nice homeless person for once, right? Instead of people say that sometimes, oh, that was a nice homeless person begging for money, instead of all those other angry and horrible. But it's just not sure where I was going with this, but it's just, I think, giving good energy can always help yourself, and I agree on that. But it's also, I can imagine that it's not your first priority, but it should be. But I can understand why people don't come there or get there, because I mean, you always get angry faces from people when you're sitting in a train station, homeless, begging for money, and that has its influence on you. Then it's really hard if you're hungry and you're even on drugs to switch that mindset to, oh, I need to give them good energy, even if they're negative towards me. That's something that if you can do that, it's very admirable. But that's I can imagine.
Yeah, but I think the homeless people don't have so much influence, right? Because it's really hard for me to say it, but they're at the low of society, at the bottom of it. So they don't have so much influence, but we have influence towards them.
Exactly, yeah. So
And
we should be,
we can make their life better. Also, they can make some stuff a bit better, but I doubt that homeless people are going to listen to this podcast.
No, exactly. Yeah,
when you walked in this bridge and then all of a sudden someone just punched you.
Yeah.
What good does it make to the world, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you had really bad energy after this. You were so confused. You might even get scared.
Yeah,
a
bit, for sure.
But what if those people just tell you, hey, have a wonderful night, enjoy,
Yeah, different thing. Yeah,
but then when you have so much things inside of your body and your mental body that you just need to let out, and sometimes you just see a victim and all this energy goes there,
Yeah,
I think also humans, we are very violent.
Yeah.
Like all the wars, we've had a lot of wars in our history as humans, man. Everything is based on war and violence, right? You go to a city and you see like those big statues of some warrior back then, like 200 years ago, and everyone praised them.
I find that so confusing, man. Like the statues, they're always...
Let's kill each other.
Yeah.
And then let's praise those people who kill the most.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all about doing good, I'm not judging anyone.
No.
But definitely, if we can make something tiny bit better, even if it's 0.00001%,
it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. To
I agree.
ourselves, definitely, and to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is this is all the spiritual journey, I think.
Yeah.
Spirituality is not something you arrive as well,
No,
right?
it's not a destination.
It's like this is the road that you're taking. This is spirituality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. And that road just doesn't have an end.
Never. It's not that you become spiritual one day and that's
No,
it.
exactly.
You need to maintain it.
Yeah,
Everything you need
yeah.
to maintain.
It's kind of maintaining your own garden. That feeling,
Oh, this
like
is beautiful.
cultiver notre jardin. That's like who said that? I think Voltaire or some shit, some enlightenment thinker. Cultiver notre jardin. Take care of your own garden.
Yeah. Yeah, the garden of your mind.
Yeah.
You also use it mentally, this concept?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. It's not something that I read and was like, I'm gonna do this now, but it's something that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this concept. If you don't take care of your garden, all the weeds will start to grow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even more scary, you know. All right, there is no finish line, but once you rest,
Yeah.
you don't get stuck in the place, you get worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is scary.
Yeah.
For me, this is really scary. And sometimes I'm so scared out of it, you know, that it drives me, this fear.
Mm.
Do you feel this sometimes?
What kind of fear?
That if you don't get better, if you stop, you just get worse.
Yeah, that you always have to keep going. You always
Yeah.
have to.
You cannot stop all of a sudden and
Yeah,
say,
you have to
"It's
keep
enough."
watering the plants always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that feeling a lot, but that's so. Yeah, no, that's one of the harder things about this whole thing of. That's one of the harder things. Like the fact that it never stops and you can never really have a break from it. But yeah, it's sometimes frightening, and sometimes you really just want to get out of it and just because that's the thing with like this conscious living that I was talking about. I think we're just using different words, but we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But for me, the conscious living thing is also kind of hard because I just like when you're a kid, things just happen. Like when you're a small child, I don't know, you're at the playground having fun, but when you're to start doing this conscious living things, like everything needs to be, or at least in my mind, and I've spoken to a lot of people about the same thing. You can't just go in without intention. Everything needs to be with intention, and that's one of the harder things because. It just can't just happen and just be wonderful out of nowhere. It's always with a certain type of intention. There's always doubts and maybe I should give that plant a bit more water, but if I do that, then I forget about that plant, and then I don't have any water for that plant. So that right. So it's always the fact that everything needs to go with this intention and this conscious decision. That's what frustrates me sometimes. That I feel that's something I lost along the way, but I'm trying to do better at that and just also not be so attached to certain rules because it's not about rules, right? It's about doing good stuff. I guess this is kind of a vague answer.
Also, good
like
stuff. It's what is good stuff?
What is good stuff? Yeah.
I would say supporting stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I think you're
Supporting stuff. Yeah, this is good and bad. I had some rough time with that.
Yeah.
I was kicked out of an apartment 2 days before I was supposed to come in because the woman felt she's doing something good. You know?
Yeah.
It was good for her,
Yeah.
but not for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But definitely was not supportive to anyone.
Mm.
I think it's a better way to judge it. Let's
Yeah.
talk about River Never Flows.
This river never flows.
Yeah, that's a cool song.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Drop D.
Yeah.
Coolest tuning.
Open D. Actually.
It's open D.
Yeah, open
oh,
D,
so also
yeah.
the first string is tuned to D.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, so it's just D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. It's like just a normal D chord when you do it. Yeah, that's also it's just one of the songs that I really love to play live with the band as well. It's also quite an old song. That's funny. I played like two songs that are quite old actually, like Venus and This River Never. I think I wrote This River Never Flows also around that time. I think because I was 16 or something. I think and then, of course it changed a bit through the years, but the song was written when I was 16 and it's mainly it's about heartbreak. Yeah. It's about the first relationship that I had when I was 16 and I was the one who had to break it up because it wasn't working. And I found that to be really hard.
It's really, really hard.
Yeah,
Especially if you still love the person and
yeah, I
everything
loved
is
it.
cool.
Yeah, the person was cool, but yeah, it was mainly just youth love, and like looking back at it, it was never gonna be something that's real. But yeah, but the main thing I like about the song is I love the lyrics. Like if I don't like the lyrics, I wouldn't be singing them. But the main thing about this is really Elliott Smith guitar part. I feel like maybe not the outro. The outro, the loud thing, the speeding up part. That's not really Elliott Smith, but everything besides that is very. I don't know. I remember really being into Elliott Smith. I think I wrote it also on a guitar which only had like 3 or 4 strings on it. It was just a broken guitar. and
Crazy,
then,
man.
And then that's one of those things. Like I love broken stuff because that I can then definitely recommend everyone who maybe plays guitar, take a string off your guitar, just a random one, whatever, and try to mess around with that, because then you limitations open up more possibilities.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, that was this song for me. It was one of those first songs that I really thought, fuck it, I'm gonna grab this guitar that's broken and see what comes out of it. And then this song came out of it, and I'm very happy with it. So that's This River Never Flows.
Yeah, River Never Flows. We will hear it, and we also will finish the podcast. So before we finish everything, how can people find you?
You can follow me and the band on Instagram and on Facebook, Olaf Putker and the Scenic Sound. And on Spotify now. I keep forgetting that. It's quite recent. We released Dance Record Days in July, and it's out there for everyone to listen to. There's more stuff coming. And if you're ever in the Netherlands, come to a show. If there's maybe one Dutch person listening, come to a show, and hopefully we maybe go outside of the Netherlands at some point as well. But that's all for the future. For now, you can follow us and listen to the songs. That will mean a lot.
Yes, all the links are in the description of Spotify or whatever platform you listen. So
awesome.
Just go there, click. It's clickable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you, Olaf.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
That was a really great talk.
Yeah. This was nice. It's interesting because you were just some random guy who texted me on Instagram, right? Who was like, yeah, I know you via Dean, and even Dean is not a person I know that well. So it was, and now you're here in my home in Amsterdam. It's quite it's a trip.
That's a spiritual experience.
It's a spiritual experience, sure is.
When you're doing something and then you can come to people's houses. When people open their houses for you, wow, this is one of the most incredible feelings I think a human can have.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, always welcome, man.
Right back at you.
If you're ever back in Amsterdam.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now we listen to River Never Flows.
Yes.
Ciao, everyone.
Yeah. Guess the wind is howling low, it gets through sometimes. Although this river never flows, I don't think anybody knows. Thanks for that, man. I'll have to make it right. Don't make it work. It ain't a man's job and it hurts. I can't stick around 'cause I'll bow right back down. Now I'm counting days like a madman, but I sure know why. It won't feel good to be there once again, but I won't be back for a long, long time. Me from talking, make me read a book. I'll be just fine, don't let me have a look. Tell all the people right here, right now, that things are going down. Now I'm counting days like a madman, but I sure know why. It won't feel good to be there once again.